And we're back, and we're moving into our second conversation for today as we focus on the nation's university, University of Belize. We have with us Professor Emeritus Clement Sankat, who's the president of the university. Good morning.
Good morning, and thanks to both of you for having me once
Welcome
more on
back.
your show.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Yes.
Been a while.
The last time you were here, I think we were talking about soca. I don't mind that.
That was the Fed. That was the Fed, yes. And we had the Fed.
Yeah.
And we're going to have another one in August. That's how you build a reputation, you build the patronage. Yes, but I'm pleased to be back on your show. And good morning to all those who listen to this fine program.
Yeah. Well, of course, I want to just talk to you before we talk about what the highlights are and the goals are, just about your own personal experience and how things have been going at the head of the university so far.
Well, it's every day is a learning day. Universities are places that are learning institutions, and as president, I learn every day. I reflect every day. And I'm getting to know more about the University of Belize. I'm getting to know more about Belize, getting to know more about the environment in which university finds itself. And overall, next February will be 2 years since I'm here from Trinidad. Time has moved on. And I would say that the university has made considerable progress in the last nearly 2 years. We have a cemented senior management team now, a good leadership team across the university, and I think we all know where each of us stand and what we stand for, and I think there is a total commitment to the transformational plan that was launched last year, and this is what we're living by. A transformational plan, Vision 2022, which is intended to take the university on a major leap forward. It is not talk, as we were just discussing. It is action about deliverables.
Yeah.
And since I've been here, we have begun this task of transforming this national university.
Yeah. Professor Sankat, one of the things I wanted to ask, you came from the University of West Indies, a very historic institution, very prestigious as well, very organized, very vision-oriented. And I remember our first conversation where there were some basic elements of the University of Belize that you felt you couldn't understand why they hadn't been addressed. From mosquitoes in a classroom, which may seem mundane unless you're a student in that classroom, to the qualifications of the professors, to the costs of the education program. Now that you've had almost 2 years experience, I'm sure you'll understand the cultural dynamics of how things work in Belize and the challenges that exist there. Can you shed some light on how much you've been able to overcome some of the minor hurdles that you felt were essential in being able to just bring the university to a basic university level?
Yes, I think on reflection, that's a pretty good question. And let me see how pleased I am with the UWI. That it has now got nearly in the top 500 top universities of the world. We were working on that for decades while I was at UE, and we were steadily inching there. It didn't happen overnight. It was a work in progress. Universities are built over a long time. But to the Belizean situation with UB, it had a vision and a mission, but wasn't living it. They weren't living it. You have to live this mission. You have to imbibe it every day, and you have to be focused on the deliverables that you say you will meet. Now, that is what we're doing, and that is me. I suppose it's the engineer in me, very focused on execution. For too long, we've been focused on talk, plan, strategy. We do not pay enough attention to execution and treating with the little issues that can make a difference. And, I would say that our campus in Belmopan, since I've come here, is a little campus that I'm pretty proud about now. The aesthetics of the place. When you walk into a university, You must get a sense of the quality of the institution by just stepping in there. Belmopan is giving me a great sense that we now have an institution there that I can be proud of, coming from another well-endowed university. There are still challenges in Belize City. We're working hard to transform Little Punta Gorda. You'll be surprised. And in a year from now, you will see it pretty little campus. So all around, there are things that we are doing in enhancing, for example, the aesthetics of the campuses. I can't deal with mosquitoes in Belize City.
We still haven't gotten the nets yet, or?
Well, we have the nets, but the problems there are tremendous. The campus is located by the sea.
Yeah.
The mangroves.
There's some inherent infrastructural issues there. It could be a lovely place to have a campus by the sea if it was well planned, well executed, and we had the funding to fix it. So that's finances. You ask me what are some of the things that are challenging. The biggest challenge at UB, I call it the elephant in the room, is the funding money issue. And that has really taken me back, because it is, to be honest, it is much worse than I expected. The University of Belize needs an injection of new funds to make it a contemporary university, at least a university that can hold its head relatively high within the Central American and the Caribbean environment. I tell people, you just step across the border and walk into the University of Quintana Roo, which is 27 years old. University of Belize is nearly 20 years old. And you will get that experience I just said. Step in there, and it gives you a sense of what you're likely to get. So we have a lot to do.
When you talk about funding, though, funding from whom?
Yes.
Well, it is the national university. It is the university that has been enacted by Parliament. It's your only national university. You asked me about the University of the West Indies. The University of the West Indies gets its biggest lion's share of income from the government of the region. I am from Trinidad. Trinidad is the biggest contributor to UWI. I would say that as a first step here, there's an obligation to educate the people of Belize, to give them an opportunity for tertiary education. University of Belize is not a university for profit. A national university must have a social dimension to it. And therefore, I think the public at large, through the state, ought to make a significant contribution to the University of Belize, which they are making.
I was going to say, there is some money that goes to the university.
There is, which they are making, but which has stayed very static.
What percentage of your income comes from the government funds?
Well, right now, it is just of the order of about 40-something, just over 40%.
Okay.
The
and you
vast
also
majority.
have government scholarships as well.
There are scholarships to the students.
To the students.
To the students, which is something that we applaud. I'm talking about a subvention to the university that advances the mission of the university in terms of the payments that we have to make for just operating the place. And what is sorely lacking is there no capital budget, for example, to treat with infrastructure. And something that we are addressing urgently, like now, that it may very well be in the circumstances that we're faced with, to do the things that we have to do to ensure that our faculty and our staff have a decent environment in which to study, to learn, to work, to play, that we may have to go out and seek funding through potential loans. It is that difficult. But let me say,
I thought you were going to say tuition increase just now.
Well, we have to be fairly thoughtful on this matter. This is a national university. And therefore, there's an obligation on all to contribute to the well-being of the university. And that may also be a possibility. But you've asked me what I've learned since I've been here.
Yeah.
Well, I have been learning, and you may be hearing the reports, that students, and a fair fraction of our students, have great difficulties paying their tuition and their fees. You must be seeing all those things on Facebook, etc. Yeah. And because of that, as president of the university, I am very cautious about wanting to put across the board increases in tuition. Now, what we have done is some of our new programs, we've introduced new tuition. But the existing programs, the vast majority of our programs, the tuition was established in 2000. The formation has not changed. So there is a really a challenge here about increasing income through tuition increases, and it may become a reality. But here is the challenge for me as an educator, not as an administrator. It will debar a significant number of Belizean students who have the ability to come to university from coming to university. Students coming to university do not only have fees and tuition to pay. They have to pay living expenses, they have to pay transportation, they have to pay food. So
they have families.
They have families, so I feel for them. But we have a reality. Now, just to say, right now, the students are paying more towards the contribution of the University of Belize in terms of the recurrent expenditure. Yeah. More than 50% comes from our students' income. And it has grown, not because the tuition has risen, because our numbers have increased.
I was going to say that.
Our numbers have increased and more students are coming to UB.
Well, you see, the thing is, what I now see in Belize is that students and young people understand that obtaining a bachelor's degree is almost like getting your high school diploma. It is an essential if you want to get into an entry-level position anywhere. And so people are matriculating straight out of high school. They're continuing straight, instead of taking a gap after sixth form and deciding, they're just continuing straight through. But if you are continuously facing this issue of not having sufficient funds coming in, then that means what is the quality of education that the students are getting? I mean, we naturally have this equation of you get what you pay for. And if we're paying 2000, the year 2000 fees, are we still getting the year 2000 education?
Well, I think they're getting better now than before. And I need to put into the equation that while there's a challenge with the income side, we're also trying to become more efficient and effective. We're cutting costs where they can be cut. But one of the things that we are committed to is to ensure our quality is better than what it used to be. And that, in the main, comes out of the quality of the instruction. And this is a big issue at UB. Our academic staff, and we have a couple hundred of them, tend to be very good academics in terms of the ability to teach. Yeah. The ability to research is a different question as opposed to UWI. But we're going to work on that also. Where we have a problem, I think, with quality is the large numbers of adjuncts that we hire. And I'll be the first to tell you, we got to tighten up there on the people who we bring from the outside in and whose service we gratefully accept, but we need to do more on the quality that comes in there in some instances.
Now,
and by the way, before I forget, we have also instituted the whole process of accreditation. It's going to be a long journey. You're not going to be accredited just so. So we've
You have
started
a lot
that
of steps, right?
a lot of steps. And
Don't you have to have research published and professors with certain degrees and?
Yeah, well, we're working on all of that.
Okay.
We're working on all of that, and we're stepping up the demand
Okay.
to have our professors publish, etc. But the big thing is for us to do the internal quality review of ourselves. Let us take a deep look at ourselves.
Professor,
where are we going wrong?
Yes, Professor, the hitting mark for the goal for UB is a transformational leap.
Yes.
For only like 3 years away.
Yes.
And so clearly you've identified not only for the University of Belize but for other institutions that rely on government funding, it's a very limited pool. We had the courts the other day who were saying, listen, we kind of need a little bit more as well. Now, with these financial restraints, how can you make that leap when you're actually distracted rather than creating this transformational, innovative step forward? You're being handcuffed from even walking, much less jumping.
Well, I wouldn't use that language of being handcuffed. We ourselves at UB have to be innovative and creative. When I came here, I thought I could put transformation using Trinidad and Tobago solutions or my experience at UWI. It's not going to work. As I tell people, I can't build concrete and steel structures with glass and 3 stories with elevators in Belize. That's what I thought I was going to do. It's not going to work. But I'm expanding my facilities using Belizean architecture, Mennonite buildings, prefab, air condition them, people get nice, comfortable spaces. I'm doing even more now with metal and steel. I have given up, at least for the time being, on trying to create a St. Augustine campus. And I have to use Belizean solutions, and it is working. So every single day, you have to think deeply, even to get this capital funding, where I'm going to get it from, how I'm going to get it. So it's not handcuffed, because if you were handcuffed, we wouldn't have had no progress.
At all.
We are getting progress. I want more progress. There are certain intrinsic things that have to be done that you cannot think of with the money. You need some money.
What's the buy-in though? Because having a leader with a vision is helpful, but you can't do it alone. What has been the buy-in from the staff at the institution, the board of the institution, and even the students of the institution?
Well, let me put it this way. The transformational plan, this document, has been accepted across the board, including our stakeholders. I continue to speak about it. Our minister launched it, and I think the government is very happy with the direction of the University of Belize. People are seeing progress in the University of Belize. The faculty are the ones who are developing all these new programs. One of the distinctive features of this transformational leap would be to move the University of Belize from associate degrees mainly to the majority of bachelor's degrees. That was what you would expect of any decent university. We're not a community college, we're not a junior high school. We're a university. So we have to live that name. That is one of the leaps, to move to more bachelor's programs. And then we have begun 1 or 2 master's programs, MBA, and this month we are going to begin the master's in educational leadership. We have to have a certain level of confidence in ourselves. And who's doing it? It's not the president doing it. It's the faculty and the staff and the UB people are doing it, despite the constraints that we may have.
You started in 2017. I'm looking at the timeline.
Yeah.
From 2017 to 2022.
Right.
Are you saying that you're happy or satisfied with the progress and pace that the university is on to get to where it should be in 2022?
I am.
Wow.
I am, because
Why?
I have seen it. Well, you asked me the question. I have seen the tremendous progress we've made in the last 2 years. New programs across the board, 1 or 2 graduate programs, and more to come. New programs that are being developed as we speak in areas like anthropology, archaeology, in music, tourism management, you name it. And the big one, medicine. the Board of Trustees has changed the name of on the recommendation of the university from the Faculty of Nursing, Allied Health and Social Work to the Faculty of Health Sciences. We are working with our partners as I speak to help develop a medical school.
A leap also means that you.
Well, that is a leap.
A leap also means that you move drastically, not only in terms
It's
of.
a jump,
It's a
not a
jump,
walk.
not a walk.
That's correct.
That you haven't gone through the pedantics of going from step 1, 2, 3, or if you do, you go in a very fast pace. How would you say that the university has drastically changed? What's a revolution? A leap, to my mind, provokes a sense of.
Well, that's it.
a revolution.
I've just indicated to you.
That's somebody who I looked at it in 2017, looked at it in 2019, and said, "This is not the same university at all."
There are more students graduating with bachelor's degrees. That is a leap for UB.
That's a numerical leap.
You have to be to measure success or to evaluate success. You should be able to measure it.
Yes.
This is a smart plan. It means we will be able to measure at the end of 2022, or I measure every day, what is the difference that we're making. You cannot do it without being able to objectively measure. And I'm saying the numbers have increased. It means more students have confidence now in the University of Belize than they had before. I was hearing all kind of negatives before, They probably are still there. But you'll always hear the negatives, but the proof of the pudding is the students are coming, more want to come, and our graduate programs are very well subscribed. Staff may have issues, faculty may have issues, but they're still there. Mm-hmm. More are coming.
There are some substance proof of a leap.
Yes.
To my mind, in my calculation, one substance proof of an ideological leap seems to me to have been the recent contributions to the social conversations with the ICJ issue. But there are other tangible ways in which you would have evidence of a leap. For example, the University of the West Indies, when I attended my undergraduate degree, 60% of the topics and subjects that I was studying, the textbook was actually produced and published by my professor who was teaching me. And in Belize, we are not there, and I know that's something that you've talked about in terms of research. Yeah. And where we were in 2017 in that aspect, how much progress and how much proof we have of that progress in 2019 and projected to go in 2022?
Well, let me respond to two sides of that question.
Sure. Please.
You be the judge. How much were you hearing about the University of Belize prior to 2016 or 2017? Were you seeing articles like this coming out every 2 weeks in The Guardian? Have you been reading these things?
It's in what newspaper?
The Guardian, because they publish it for free.
Okay.
I went to every newspaper. Would you give us a page? This is the only newspaper that said they will give us a page. And the invitation is still open.
Yes.
And religiously, every 2 weeks since I've been here, this has been coming out. Telling people what the population, what the university is doing. This year, for the very first time, the University of Belize launched its annual report for 16-17, including its audited financial reports on time. The university is becoming much more accountable. And we made all of those public. Go up on our webpage.
That should be step one. I'm talking about where
that is a huge step, my friend.
Step.
When you are an institution and you're not holding yourselves accountable to the state or to the public, you're a public institution. Your audit accounts must be there in front of everybody. They must be able to see it. You must be able to stare the population in the face that this is what we did in the last academic year. You be the judge of what we've done. That is what UWI is. I learned these things from UE. Practice is what makes perfect. You have to repeatedly do good things to become perfect. That is what I'm trying to do. So that for me is a major leap at the University of Belize, to become accountable to the population, to tell the population what we've been doing. And the ICJ thing is part and parcel of what I call the outreach and the engagement. And there's more we are going to do in the next few months, one of which is a big debate with Galen on the 27th of February, sponsored by the Rotary Club, on the ICJ issue, and it's going to be held in the Bliss.
Nice.
Oh.
It's a work in progress. And something else that is going to happen, again, the Galen issue is a dead all set. There's another one being planned right now, a debate among the junior high schools on the ICJ issue, to be led by the University of Belize with the support of external parties. But we are being asked to lead the effort. So UB's outreach has improved. This book is on this transformational leap is not hidden. It's on our website, it's published, it's printed as our annual reports. So those are the big things that you see. You got to know about what good universities do and benchmark yourselves around them. And that's what I'm trying to do here, but with limited resources. However, I am using more creative imagination in Belize than I ever used at UWI. It occupies my attention day and night. How can I get it done without the kinds of resources? And resources are many. It's not only financial, it's human. But financial and human are linked. If you have money to pay, you could hire those professors who will write the textbooks that you want. UWI pays its professors using global benchmarks. You hear what I said? Global benchmarks. Not Trinidad benchmarks, not Jamaican benchmarks, but global benchmarks. That is why they have a capacity for research, for publication. That is why you're in the top 500, and that is why they can write books. We will get there. That will be a major leap, but that's not going to happen now. However, we have to set the stage for that to happen. And so research and publication, which was not in the mainstream of the University of Belize before I came, is now there. And just like UWI, starting in the new academic year, students would be allowed or will have an opportunity to do an MPhil by research.
MPhil, what's that?
By research, a master's degree by a full research thesis. And that will stimulate research at the UWI because the students will work with their professors. You know, that is the bread and butter of the UWI research enterprise, the graduate students.
So, if someone is watching and they hear you say this, I suppose any person who wants to be skeptical will say, if this was possible before, then why wasn't it done? What will change now that we will start to see this caliber of work coming out of the university?
I cannot answer your first question. I wasn't here, so you may best be positioned to say why it wasn't done before. I can only treat with what I have. And I am saying to you, the university is making progress. It is not going to get in the top 100 universities in the next 10 years or the next 20 years. It's going to take a longer time because there are thousands of universities in the world. But if you do not set the foundations for the university, that this is not a junior high school, it is not a community college, it's a university. You have to live the dream that you want to build a university that is committed to teaching and learning, research, and I don't mean general research, I mean research that is impacting Belize's development, and of course outreach. If you don't have that vision, you will never achieve it.
So then maybe the goal is a bit misleading. It should be building the foundation for a transformational leap, as opposed to saying it is the transformational leap, because you're not there as it from what you're telling us.
We are leaping, my friend.
Yes, you're leaping.
But you see, you could get into pedantics. And we were just talking before the show about pedantics.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in pedantics. I'm interested in measuring this leap.
Where are we in terms of national universities in the world, so we can measure it?
We're not in the rankings. We're not there. But let me give you an example. We shouldn't be ashamed of it. There's nothing to be ashamed. We have to build this institution. The University of Trinidad and Tobago is a national university. It's probably number 4,000, 5,000 in the ranking. So we're not even close to that. Not even close to getting there. We are laying the groundwork here to one day get there. Universities are not built overnight, my friend. But I keep repeating, if you do not have if you cannot conceptualize what is the vision of a university, you'll never get there.
We're running out of time, and I want to ask you one critical area. Whatever criticisms people may have of the university, there are a lot of prominent alumni of the University of Belize in this country right now. What's been the support and the reach out and the capacity to bring them back to the university and offer in some way an assistance in meeting this goal?
That all I can say is a work in progress. We have an alumni association. The president of the Alumni Association sits on the board of the University of Trustees. And we have been working assiduously to engage them. And I appeal to them to support the University of West Indies, either the
University of Belize.
the University of Belize, either directly or through the Alumni Association. Typically, when the association calls its AGM, etc., there are very few people showing up. The communication may not be good enough, but the reality is, you're right, the university needs to engage these graduates who have done very well for UB. The nursing graduates, the teaching graduates, the agriculture graduates, they're all around, and these are very proud of what they've done. And I am proud of them.
Quite a few environmentalists as well.
Yes,
yeah.
and I am proud of them, but we need them back in. Now, you see, one of the things about universities, as opposed to a high school or primary school, and it's the same thing with UWI, by the way, the students don't stay long enough in universities. Some spend 2 years, some spend 3 years, and they're out. In high schools, 5 years. There's more of a bonding with the university. One of the things that will strengthen the university in terms of its alumni relationships is to have more students living on the campus. Those are the best alumni at UWI. They have a firm bond.
Camaraderie.
Yes, to their campus, to their residents, and we don't have that. So having a residence on campus is something that we want to work on.
My final question is, your tenure is finite. It won't be forever.
All of us are finite.
Yes, that's what it is.
All of us.
So, in terms of your stamp on the University of Belize, what do you want your legacy at the helm to reflect?
Exactly this. That while I was here, the university leapt upwards. Measured, in a measured way that you can actually measure it. By numbers, not old talk, as we say in Trinidad. You could have seen it, you can see the difference, you could measure the difference, you could feel the difference. That's what I would like to do. But that's what I've always done in my life. It's not only about planning, my friend. We have too much of that in this part of the Caribbean. Execution, transformation, that is where the hard work is. That's where you get into the trenches.
Yes.
It's easy to sit down and write a nice plan. It's more difficult to execute it.
All right. Well, Professor Sankat, we're so grateful that you came in to talk just about some of the work that you've been doing over the years and where you're planning to go.
Thank you very much, and I really appreciate it and enjoyed your questioning. Yeah. And I hope to be here more often to speak about university. And you must come to the campus and reach us there.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll be talking about the annual BDF Days. So stay tuned.